Okay, so welcome everybody to today's presentation. Just a couple of housekeeping items as we go on. If you just wanted to keep yourselves on mute as the presentation is going on, and then feel free, you can ask any questions, and you could unmute yourself, or if you feel more comfortable and want to use the text chat, you can do that as well. And I'll watch out for those questions and bring it to Cassandra. So without any further ado, I will introduce our speaker. So bear with me one sec. Okay. So I wanted to welcome back Cassandra Arsenal. She's the owner of Connect, which opened about 3 years ago. She's studied psychology, marketing, and digital marketing. And she's a social media marketer and online business manager. And we're lucky to have you back for a presentation again, and appreciate you being here.
Hello, thank you, Lori, as always. Hello, everyone. Thank you for coming to hang out. I appreciate all your time and energy. So thank you, thank you. Okay, so today we are going to talk about scaling your business and essentially having systems and processes to hold a scaling business. Okay, so let me share my screen here. Can all see that okay?
Yeah, we can see it good.
Perfect. Okay. So within, well, actually, as Lori was saying, yes, Cassandra from Connect. I studied psychology over at Lakehead University in Thunder Bay. I did my undergrad there, and then I went into Confederation College to do marketing. Then I did an online program through George Brown College in Toronto, through digital marketing programs. And so initially when I opened my business, I started off as a social media manager. I did a lot of social media stuff. And as I kind of developed and worked with my clients, I realized that I really liked to help them with all of the back end of their business, being able to really support them in a variety of different pieces rather than it just being the marketing or just being the systems. I wanted to be able to help them in both spaces. And so I created Connect, and I switched it from just social media into online business management as well. So today we're going to talk about support in your business. So as you're thinking of scaling, as you're thinking of growing, maybe you've already scaled to a certain point. The way I like to think of the word scaling is like leveling up from where you're at a big degree. So maybe that's hiring somebody, maybe that's making, double your income. Maybe that is opening up a shop. Maybe that is launching a new product line. Like you're doing something significant to build your business. And so when I think about scaling, a lot of us want to scale our business, right? Like who here wants to be a millionaire? Who here wants to be a billionaire, right? Like we all want to make more money. We all want to have more impact. We all want to be bigger, better, all of the things. The reality is that a lot of us get stuck inside of, oh, I need to build my business. I want to scale my business, but we don't have the systems and support on the back end to be able to actually hold a scaling business. So when I started my business, it was little old me. I was like, hi, how are you? I'm here. And what I quickly realized is that there's only so many hours in a day. There's only so many hours in a week. I can only help so many clients at the same time. Okay, so what am I going to do about that? How am I going to shift things? What am I going to do to build my business in a sustainable way so that my clients feel like they're getting held, but also that I feel like I'm getting compensated fairly, all of these things. So when you think of your business, if you went viral tomorrow, this is always the topic of conversation. I want to go viral. I want to be famous, all of these things, right? If you went viral tomorrow, or let's say you had 100 clients at your door tomorrow, could you hold the capacity of those clients? The reality is that probably 50% of us can't. We don't have the capacity in ourselves. We don't have the capacity in our business to do it. There's not the capacity for it. So when we talk about scaling our business, we need systems, we need processes, we need back-end support so that if 100 people came to your door today, you could serve each of them individually with the same cadence as you would any other client that came in your door any other day. So oftentimes when we don't have systems, when we don't have processes, and I'm not talking about like multi-million-dollar back-end systems like Amazon would run. I'm talking about very simple things. When we don't have those things, it can actually hinder our growth because our mindset isn't set up for growth. It isn't set up for scaling. Our energetics are saying, hey, universe, yes, I want to grow, but our business is saying, you can't grow. This can't happen. We don't have the capacity for it. So there are certain systems and processes that you guys can implement today, that you can implement over the next few weeks, that are just going to help you in the big run say, hey, I'm ready. I want this. Let's go. Let's do this. Let's open the floodgates because I feel like I can actually support these people now. So when we think about our customers are one of, if only, the most important part of our business, right? If we don't have customers, we don't have a business. And so when we think about our customers, giving them a good, positive, exciting customer service experience from start to finish and thereafter is a really, really important part of business. We all know this. There's actually, a retention rate in the restaurant industry, for example. So in the restaurant industry, first visit that somebody comes to visit you, I believe it is a 10 to 15% chance that they'll come again. The second time, same thing. The third time, they are 70% more likely to come on their fourth visit. So they've come the first time, 10% chance they'll come a second time, 10% chance they'll come a third time. Once you've gotten them in that third time, the fourth time is a 70% chance that they'll convert and come back in again. So when you think about your customer service experience, I know we're not all in the restaurant industry, but to use that as an example, when you give a good customer service experience, customers come back over and over and over again, right? If they work with you, whether you're in the service or product-based industry, when they work with you and they get the results that they want, or they get the transformation that you've promised, or they get just simply what you've promised them, they are going to come back over and over and over again because they trust you, they know what you do works. So when you think about your customers, when you think about your customer's journey, when they come and find you wherever it is, social media, word of mouth, website, Google search, on the street, business card, poster, whatever you've got, newspaper article, whatever you've got going on, when they've come and find you, what does that look like for them? Is your website updated with relevant information? Is your social media active? Because I've seen a lot of people, this happened with a business locally in Thunder Bay a while back. We were getting pizza and I was like, well, I haven't been to this one place in ages. Like, I would love to order pizza from them. That sounds delicious. I went to their Facebook page and I was like, are they open? They haven't posted anything since 2016. That's the question that comes to my head. That's where I stop searching, right? You're not going to order from them if they're not even open, right? So you need to stay up to date. You don't have to post 25 times a day, but you can post once a week, a couple times a month, get your content out there. Obviously, the more you post, the quicker you'll grow. But at the very least, post consistently every once in a while so that people know that you're still there, you're still alive, you're still working, you're still doing the things. So when they come and find you, what are they running into? Is your website from 1992? If it is, it's probably not mobile friendly. It's probably not functional. And most people are using their phones to come find people. Social media, is it updated? Can they find you easily? How can they contact you? How can they learn about your services? How can they learn about your products? Are these things easy enough for people to understand, get to, feel into, right? People, I want to use the word lazy, maybe busy, but people are lazy, right? The second they run into a roadblock, they're like checked out of that place. They're like, this isn't for me. You've lost a customer right there. So once they find you and they've purchased something from you, what is their process like after that now? When they get the product or service, what is the onboarding process of this client? Whether you're, in my case, a service-based industry, when you sign up with me, what does that look like? Or are you a product-based business? When they get your product at their door front, what does that look like? All of these things matter. There are many, many videos on the internet of people unboxing products and they're like, look how beautiful this wrapping is. And again, you don't have to spend $8 million on wrapping, but adding a cute little custom note in there and sending it off with your package can be super beneficial. In the onboarding process as a service-based business, what's your first point of contact with your customers? Are you sending them a welcome package? Are you outlining things? What's going on? Okay, so then the other part of this is offboarding. So once the customer or client is done with your product, done with your service, done with your business right now, what does that process look like? To encourage them to come back, to encourage them to continue the relationship. Is it bye, have a nice day? Is it here's a 10% off coupon for your next order? Is it a note 6 months down the road that says, hey, we haven't seen you in a while. We'd love to have you in the studio. We'd love to have you come back. We'd love to meet, blah, 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 blah. Whatever it is, fill in the blank. What is the onboarding, offboarding process for your customers? These things are super important because this is what transforms your business. Word of mouth is still huge. I'm a social media girly and I still get a bunch of clients from word of mouth, people referring me from other people. And so within that, what is your process to make sure your clients feel seen, heard, and held? That's what you want. How can I make my clients feel like they are the only customer I have today? And how can I make them feel special? Now, when you think about scaling your business, you can't make every single person feel seen, heard, and held if you are the person manually doing everything, right? It becomes very impossible to do that when you get tens, hundreds, thousands of people in your door. So what are we going to do? So lead tracking is important within your business, some capacity of lead tracking, whether that is an Excel spreadsheet, whether that is put into a system, whatever feels good for you. How are you tracking people that are coming into your world? Who are your customers? Recently, last weekend, I went through all of my, I'm a paper girly. So I have a folder for each of my clients, a little yellow folder, and I put all my stuff inside of there for them. I went through that system the other day as I was kind of cleaning out some new and old clients, and I realized that I had helped 50 plus clients in the last 3 years. And I was like, holy crap, that is a huge milestone. I've helped 50 people with their online business. Amazing. Okay, how can I translate this to social content, but also look at the tracking that I've done? These are the clients that I've helped. And then I have a spreadsheet of people that are interested or who I've sent proposals to say, hey, you want to work together? We've had a discovery call. Here's the proposal. I can go back on that and follow up with people. I have something that's just tracking. Lori signed up for this. I know where she is so that I can come back to that later on. Customer service. So like I said, your customer service experience. Is your website update? Is your payment processor easy to use? If somebody's coming into your world and they're like, hey, I want to sign up for your workshop on Tuesday, you're like, amazing. Is the process convoluted and you can't even find the workshop on the website because people are checked out by that point? Needs to be really simple. When they call you and they have a problem, when they come to you and they say, hey, I noticed X, Y, and Z, when there is an issue with a product or a service, how are you handling that issue? Are you telling them that they broke it? Are you coming back and saying, hey, this is your fault? No, you're taking the ownership, the responsibility, all of that kind of stuff, right? Having customers in a database. So this is really important as you grow your company, especially as you get hundreds, thousands of people in your company. Knowing where your customers are, knowing their information is going to be really important. I helped a client back last year. She and I had, right at the beginning, she had a spreadsheet that was doing it. And that was great when she had 30 customers in her mastermind. But when she had 120 customers in her mastermind and they all had different payments and they all had different, all these different things. We wanted to make them feel special. When's their birthday? I don't know. Where's a customer service tracker of some capacity, right? So you can do different things. You can have a customer relationship management software itself. You can do it in spreadsheets, whatever feels good for you. But essentially you want to track things like their data. So their information, their name, their address, if you ever needed to send them something, their email, their contact information, how they're paying you, what type of payment plan they might be on, what type of products they might have purchased in the past, how often they've purchased from you, emails that are going back and forth between you two, contracts if you have those, anything like that, so that you can get a really clear understanding that when I pull this up and I pull it up for Tracy, all of a sudden I see everything that has to do with Tracy and my company. I don't have to go find it in 15 different places. It's right here in front of me. You can use softwares like HoneyBook, HubSpot, ClickUp, Monday. There are many, many out there. These are the ones that I've used in the past with my clients that we've had really simple success with. You can use things like Notion. Notion is a little more complex on the setup end, but Easy to use, simplistic. It hosts everything in one spot so that you can keep track of your customers, where they are, how they're moving, and what's happening in your company. Okay, so as entrepreneurs, we do everything and all the things all the time, right? And so there's time and task management that comes along with this. And so maybe you found a system that works really well for you. Maybe you're kind of like, oh, I don't know yet. So obviously, the thing that I have found really successful and the thing that I have done over the long term was at the beginning of the week, I take a CEO day. We're going to talk about it later on. A CEO day is my Mondays. No meetings, no calls, no nothing. The reason why is I'm not sitting here doing nothing on Mondays. The reason why is I'm setting myself up for the rest of the week. So I'm looking at my priorities. I'm looking at my task list. I'm like, okay, who needs what? Where are we going? I check on my emails. I clear my inbox so I don't have stuff all over the place and I can't find what I need. I go through all of the things that I need to do as a business owner, bookkeeping, staffing, anything like that, new product launch, new program launch. If I'm doing anything like that, website updates, systems and processes. If I'm like, hey, I need a new software for this, I've realized that over the last couple of weeks, I'm going to put something in place. That's my Monday, a CEO day. If you can find a CEO hour, a CEO afternoon, a CEO day at some point in your week, it will be super beneficial for the growth of your business. And we'll talk about that. Okay, so once I've had my CEO day, I've prioritized my tasks for the week, right? I know what's up and coming. I know what's happening. From there, I set deadlines. I'm like, okay, I want to send this proposal by Thursday. I want to do this audit by Wednesday. I want to have this meeting on Friday, whatever it is. Then I take that information and I build my calendar from there. So time blocking for me has been huge. Taking 3 hours and saying, hey, I'm doing this Paro presentation. I need an hour to 2 hours to create the presentation and get my mindset right and know what I'm talking about and get in that zone. Great. I'm going to block off 2 hours Monday morning so that I can get that done so that when I have the presentation on Wednesday, I'm ready to go. So time blocking for me has been huge because it allows me to get into a state of flow. It allows me to focus my energy, right? Sometimes we get into this busyness and we're like, oh, you know what? I'll wait till later on because I have a meeting right now. And or I have a meeting in an hour. So I'm actually going to wait until that meeting goes by so that I can get focused on something. But what you've done is now wasted an hour of your time, right? So where can you find time in your day that's like, hey, you know what? Actually, I can structure this a little bit easier and well, so that I have maybe all my meetings on Wednesdays. And then I have all of my work on Thursdays and Fridays, or whatever that is for you. SOPs, standard operating procedures in your business. As you're doing things, as you're building your business, as you're scaling, you're likely going to need to hire somebody at some point, whether it is somebody in your store, it's somebody online, it's somebody in your world. You might need to hire somebody. Online business management is what I do. So I manage the back end of your business for you so you can stay on the front end, selling, being on social, doing the things that you love. A virtual assistant can be like your friend that kind of comes along with you and grows your business with you and is like, hey, okay, you need me to send out this email? No problem. You need me to ship this product? No problem. As you build out your team, you need to teach them how to do your job, right? You've been doing it for so long that now it's like, okay, well, how do I actually do this? So SOP, standard operating procedures, it's like the manual for your business. And so on those CEO days, when you are planning things or doing things, set yourself some time away for some standard operating procedures. Even if you did one a week, by the time you get to the hiring, it'll be so much easier, right? Because you can say, hey, you know what? This is how you ship out this order. Here's the standard operating procedure. I don't need to do it. I don't need to show you step by step by step. Read the manual, come back to me with the questions. So when it comes to task, time, tracking, all of these pieces, you can use things like ClickUp, Trello, Asana, Google Sheets. You can get out a notebook and write it down, whatever feels good for you. Again, the suggestions that I'm making inside of this presentation are the easier of the softwares. Are there other ones out there that do 8 million things? Absolutely. Again, Notion would be a great piece for this, but if you don't know how to use it, if you don't want to set it up, it can be a little time consuming and a little stressful. So these are simple and different options that you can use that can keep it really simple. Google Calendar. I block off time in my Google Calendar. Okay, so then that comes to the calendar piece, right? So what works best for you? How do you operate? When you think about yourself, when you think about your energy, when you think about when you get the most work done, what does that look like for you? So if you had to sit here and say, hey, Cass, between the hours of 6 a.m. and 10 a.m., I am on fire. I work so well at that time. Great. If you say, hey, Cass, I actually work really well after the kids go to bed around like 8 to 10 o'clock at night. Great. You find a schedule that works for you. That's the benefit of being an entrepreneur, right? We get to play around with our schedules. We get to adjust accordingly. So what time works better for you? For me, the mornings, all of a sudden, I was a night owl person in university, but apparently now the mornings are the time to be awake. So, I start my business day at 7:30 a.m. 7:30 to about noon, I can power out so much stuff. Noon rolls around, I kind of get distracted, right? Now I'm making lunch, or perhaps I'm going to get groceries, or I'm going out for coffee, or I'm moving away from my workspace a little bit. And then the focus breaks. I get out of that flow state, right? And now I'm like, oh, okay. It's harder for me to get back into that flow state. Marco, my partner, comes home at 4 o'clock. Boom, now he's in the house. I'm distracted by him moving around. So the mornings for me are super, super productive. The afternoons, a little less productive. So in the mornings, I do all my harder brain tasks then. And then in the afternoon, maybe I'm answering emails. Maybe I'm sending off things. Maybe I'm posting a social media post, because that for me takes less energy than that heavy stuff in the morning. Time blocking, like I said, it's my jam. I'm like, boom, 3 hours here. I've got time. I'm going to block that out on my calendar so that I can get X, Y, and Z done. So I can focus on whatever it is. Meetings on certain days. This has been helpful for not only myself, but many entrepreneurs to say, okay, I am going to book, let's say you have, 10 meetings a week. I'm going to book 2 days where I have those meetings, and that is going to be my meeting day. I'm going to put my makeup on. I'm going to get dressed really nice. I'm going to be present for these meetings. And then there's not meetings randomly at different days when you're trying to block time, get in flow, get in this state of energy. CEO days, like I said, can be huge. CEO days are essentially days that you're working to build your business. You're working on your business. We are the first people to never work on our own business, right? We're like, okay, it's flowing, it's moving, it's doing its thing. And we forget that we have to work on our business. How are we scaling? What are our new offers? What are we doing? Rather than doing that in between all of your client things, in between all of the other things that you have to do as moms, as wives, as business owners, as community members, as whatever it is, let's focus in solely on our business. A CEO afternoon, even if you have 4 hours on a Friday and you're like, boom, I'm going to get focused. Where do I want to take the business? What are my goals? What am I doing for myself? How am I working towards that? I'm creating social media posts. Maybe I'm sending out an email to my main list. Maybe I'm recording a podcast. What is going on? You're building your business during the CEO days. You're not building your clients' businesses. You're building your business. Like I said, the state of flow, I'm sure we've all been in it once or twice, where you start getting into something and you're like, what day is it? What just happened? I feel like I've been working for an hour and 4 hours have gone by, right? That's your state of flow. Or you just feel like it's coming to you. There's no effort involved. It's just very easy. When you get inside of that, you can get so much more done. You can be so much more productive. So block out your calendar accordingly. If you are a person who can work in between meetings and multitask and do all of the things, totally okay. I love that for you. Keep doing it if it works for you. If you're someone who's like me, who's like, oh, I'm just going to leave it there forever until I actually get this done, then obviously that's not going to work for me. So I'm going to need to set deadlines. I'm going to need to set client meetings so that I have something to push the needle forward. Google Calendar is my best friend. If it's not on the calendar, it's not happening in my life. That is how I operate. So any of my friends, we're going out for dinner, no problem. Google Calendar me, send me an invite, That's how I operate my business. That's how I operate. You can use Outlook calendar. You can use whatever calendar. You can use the calendar on the wall in your office, whatever feels good for you, but have some capacity of a calendar in your life so you know where you're going, you know what's going on. And apps like Calendly can allow other people to book calls with you, can allow other people to come into your world and book for you so that you can set the times that you want them to book. Let's say you're only taking meetings on Tuesdays. Great. You can set that in Calendly, and then anybody who needs to book a call with you, you can send them that link and they can be responsible for themselves. They can do it by themselves. It shows up on your calendar. You show up at that time and you're good to go. Rather than trying to send 5 emails or text messages back and forth to find a time that works for both of you. Boom, system, here's my calendar, get on the calendar type thing. Okay, now automations. A lot of people shy away from automations for a variety of different reasons. It can feel stressful. It can feel annoying. It can feel like it's taking our job, whatever your thoughts are around automations. But automations can be very important as you scale your business. So initially when I started my business, there was no automations. Like I was just me sending out the proposal, sending out the contract, doing all the things. And I was like, okay, repetitive tasks can be automated. If every time a new client comes into your world or every time a new person signs up for your email newsletter, you are manually sending them an email, that's enough of that. We're not manually sending anybody anything. There's going to be an automation that comes from your email system that says, hey, so-and-so, welcome to X, Y, and Z. We're so excited that you're here, blah, 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 blah. Whatever that is for you, you decide what the email is, but that is going to be automated so that you don't have to spend 10 minutes every time somebody comes into your business to send that email. And what does that do? Free up that 10 minutes. And in the long run, let's say you have 100 people at your door that day, you're going to have to send 100 welcome emails. No, we're automating it. We're not going to send 100 welcome emails. The system is going to send 100 welcome emails, and we are going to go for dinner that night. If you're doing something in your business any more than like 5 times, that's when I recommend you're automating it. So if you're sitting here sending the same thing over and over 5, 10, 20, 30 times, no. We're going to automate it. We're going to make it simple. We're going to streamline it so that it's simple for you, simple for your clients, and so that everybody gets what they need when they need it. Simplifying your systems is super important. So when I go into businesses, a lot of times they have 15 different softwares doing the exact same thing. They're like, here's my email software. And then they're like, but this one also does email. And then that one does email too. But I don't use this one. And this one used to. And I have my... Well, why do we need 5 different email softwares? What do you need in your business? I need a customer service thing. Great. How can we now get that automated inside of your customer service space? How can we have the 2 parties, the 2 separate entities like Active Campaign and Calendly talk to each other? Zapier. Zapier is a system, essentially, we call them zaps, that zaps one program to the next. So it says, someone's booked a call on my calendar, zap it to Zoom to say, hey, Zoom, create a link for this calendar. Zoom says, okay, boom, populates the link. Your email system gets a zap saying, hey, Cassandra booked a call on your calendar, send her this welcome email. Boom, automates the welcome email. That way you don't have to even think about it. It's done, it's handled, it's on the back end, and you can then take that time and put it back into your business, put it back into the next sale, put it into your customers. So think about that as you're building out your business. What are things that you do manually that are just unbelievably repetitive, that are the same thing? You're kind of just like moving through the motions. It's the same thing all the time. That's often where mistakes happen, right? When we think about the same thing over and over and over again, that's where you're like, hey, Nicole, so and blah, blah, blah email, and you're actually sending it to Sarah, right? Because you're just so in the zone. You like copied it from the last one, you threw it in there. That is something to think about, is how are you running your business? What are things that are happening every day, all the time? And how can you get rid of that? You being the middleman in between your systems. Okay, we have a couple more slides, and then I do want to take questions / discussion, because I know that this can be an interesting topic for a lot of people on like how to set up your systems and all of that stuff. And so I want to chat with you guys as well. So your team, eventually you're going to need to hire people. It's just a reality of scaling a business, right? Elon Musk doesn't sit up in the SpaceX tower doing it by himself. Amazon, they don't do it by themselves. No company always does it by themselves. Actually, a lot of companies, like even entrepreneurs like ourselves, you would be surprised. They always have somebody on the back end that's doing something for them, whether it's a contracted position, whether it's somebody else doing something, they are doing something for them. So hire people to do things and hire for the right roles. This is where people get lost, right? They get excited and they're like, okay, I'm so ready. I need a virtual assistant to set up my systems. And I'm like, good luck. Good luck trying to find a virtual assistant who knows how to set up these systems. That's a different job. That isn't a virtual assistant job. That is an online business management job. That is a system specialist job. It's not a virtual assistant job. Or they come to me and they say, hey, Cass, I just hired, let's say, a virtual assistant for social media management. Amazing. Are they trained in social media? Well, no. Okay, well, then they're not your person. They are a virtual assistant. They can help in many things, such as scheduling, posting social media content, but the strategy piece they don't have. And so as you're building your business, think about the people that you need to hire. Think about the people. Do you need a sales rep? Do you need a customer service person? Do you need a systems person? Do you need what do you need right in this moment? Do you need a bookkeeper? Me, first thing I freaking hired for, I was like, I'm not doing my taxes. Are you joking? No, bye. Have a nice day. I don't know what I'm doing. So I hired an accountant. That was the very first hire that I ever did. And every year we get together and I'm like, hello, how are you? Here's all the things. So where are you hiring and what actually makes sense for your business? You're all going to need to hire at some point, whether you've done it already or you're in that kind of scaling model. That's a scaling piece, right? Is hiring somebody. And it doesn't have to be somebody within your business full time, all the time. It can be somebody outside that's like, hey, I need you a couple hours a month to set up a few things. No problem. Think about, so now when you're hiring somebody, think about things that suck the energy and the life out of you. When you sit down and do your business, it's often the things that you avoid ends up being the things that just suck the energy and life out of you. Like me and my QuickBooks. And I'm like, okay, I have to finish this up for my accountant. And it's taken me 3 months to do it. And I'm like, just do it. Sit down. You have 5 interactions left. Just get it done. What is the thing that sucks your energy? Most people tell me it's social media, which is totally fair. What is the thing that sucks your energy? Money, social media, managing a team, that can suck your energy. If you're like, I like to be the creative, I don't want to handle or manage people. That's why I haven't hired a team. Great. That means you need to hire a team. You need to hire an online business manager or a manager of a team so that you don't have to be the person that's managing them. They're managing them. What is your zone of genius? What do you love doing? So what do you hate doing and what do you love doing? Those are the things that you need to focus on. So I was talking to a client recently and she was like, hey, Cass, okay, so I think we were talking about strategy. She's like, I think I'm going to hire somebody she's an IV vitamin specialist. She's a nurse, so she injects IV vitamins into her patients. She's run her clinic off of this. And she's like, okay, I'm going to hire somebody to do the IV therapy so that I can do all the admin stuff. And I was like, what? I was like, what do you love doing? She's like, oh, I love poking people. Like, I love the IV piece of it. I love being able to help people in that capacity. I'm like, then why are you hiring somebody else to do that job? You're doing that job and you're hiring somebody to do the admin piece of your business, right? That's where we get misconstrued sometimes. We think that we have to hire somebody to do the thing that we actually built our business to do. No, that's your zone of genius. You're hiring somebody to do all of the other things that you don't enjoy doing. When we talk about team communication, Slack is a great one. Microsoft Teams, email, Telegram, Voxer, like whatever style you prefer. These are all softwares that are really simple to use that you can get in there and start communicating with people that you work with in some capacity. So I just want to run my Business Bestie Alliance by you guys, because this is what I do. I run your backend systems. I set them up from the ground up. I've helped businesses move from 100K months to million K month, or sorry, million K, $1 million months. That's what I do. Online business management and social media management. So my Business Bestie Alliance is essentially you get me on call within your business. So you say there's no specific hours that we have to work together. There's no specific time limit on things. It's, hey, I need this project done, or I need this SOP, or I need this email automation, or I need you to come in and set up my Zapier, or I need you to come in and set up a Slack communication channel, or whatever it is. You tell me, hey, I am launching X, Y, and Z. I need these things. I come in, set everything up for you on the back end as much as you desire. And then from there, I hand it back to you and say, here you go. It's ready to launch. Take it on your end so that you can stay in your zone of genius. I stay in my zone of genius and what I really love. And then we can work together that way. It's cancel anytime. It's on call. So you basically just say, hey, Cass, I'm launching a program next week and I need this. Great. No problem. Done. Here you go. So yeah, that's my Business Bestie Alliance. You get on call support throughout the entire time that we're working together. So you can voice message me. We can talk strategy back and forth all you want. And then we have our initial strategy call right when we start our work together. So that's what that looks like. If you need more help with these things, here's my socials, my email, all of that kind of stuff. But I want to throw it back to you guys. If you have any questions, thoughts, if you want to talk, strategize around systems that you have in your business or that you don't have, and you might just want to just chat about it, I'm open for it. Okay, is it possible to share the Zapier link? Yep, that's the link. Is it free? They do have packages, yeah, but there are free ones. I think up to 3 Zaps you can create before you have to pay. So, and yes, the recording will be shared with you as well. So throw it back to you guys. Let me know if you have any thoughts, questions, what's coming up for you. I know this can be a lot, but all part of scaling a business is thinking bigger, better, all of that kind of stuff.
Yeah, so feel free to go ahead and unmute yourself and you can ask any questions.
Brought my social media here in the time as well.
There is a question in the chat. What are useful tasks for an OBM?
Absolutely. So when we think about an OBM, the way I like to think of it is an OBM is higher than a virtual assistant. So a virtual assistant, oftentimes I was a virtual assistant for many years. The thing that virtual assistants don't have is a high level capacity for strategy, only because they've never, or not often, been faced with growth strategies. So when you think about a virtual assistant, a lot of people get frustrated only because they come into the business thinking that they are going to be the person that scales them to the next level, or that strategizes with them, or that they know all of the softwares and programs and all of the things. And they end up feeling very frustrated with virtual assistants because of the fact that that's just not their role. They haven't been trained in these types of things. And so virtual assistants are amazing. There are so many things that virtual assistants can do. But when it comes to online business management, things such as strategizing for scaling, so hiring, firing, systems, processes, social media strategy, growth strategy there, email marketing strategies, they are the strategy person. They are the person that's coming alongside with you saying, okay, here's how your current business is running. Here's how it could be running. And here's all the stepping stones that we together are going to put in place. So oftentimes when I come in, I say, okay, where do you want to go? They're like, I want to scale to $1 million a year. Perfect. No problem. Where are you at? Here. Okay. Here's all the things that we need to put in place. Here's all the things that we're going to simplify, because there's a lot of us that get 800 different ideas a day, including myself. And I'm like, I want to do all the offers. And then it ends up being very complicated in your business. Let's streamline what you're doing, streamline your messaging, your target audience, all of those things. And then from there, I walk alongside with you. I'm like, okay, we need to implement this system in order for your email marketing to be able to be scalable. No problem. So we implement the system. I'll do the system piece as your OBM, and then your virtual assistant will come in and fill it in with all of the details that it needs. So your email, your location, those types of things. The templates, the emails themselves, that's where we work together in tandem. So I come in, I do the strategy, and then I rely on the virtual assistant to help the execution part, because they've been probably in your business a little bit longer, and or if they haven't, they are the person that can do those more simpler tasks that don't require the strategy level piece of it. So online business managers, we focus in on strategy, we focus in on launching, scaling, growing. That's kind of our zone of genius. So anything to do with that, whether it's hiring a team, launching a new offer, building new processes and systems, all of those things come into place when it comes to online business management. And then managing things overall. So I can come in and do all of those things and set all those things up for you. And then I can come in and manage your team for you and check in and say, okay, everyone, what are we doing this week? Move the pieces around so that you can stay in your zone of genius, and I essentially become the manager of your team.
Perfect. And does anybody else have any other questions?
Are your fees in
Here,
Canadian? Yeah, they are. I'm up in Alberta, so a few provinces over, but yes. Yeah, no problem. Thank you guys so much. I know that scaling a business can feel a little daunting and a little stressful, especially if these things aren't necessarily something that you have a lot of training in or that you feel really comfortable with. And so hiring for the bigger picture is important. I'm not here to say, spend all your money, hire all the people, and then do nothing. But what I am here to say is, if you need somebody to get to that next level, it's worth it, because that is what is going to push you forward, right? So once you have the foundational piece, you've built the business, you've built the brand, you're like, okay, here I am, people know me, people know what I do. Now I want to make this huge. Like, I want to take this to the freaking moon. I want to help everybody all over the world. Great. How are you going to do that? If you're stuck here, you're never going to get there, right? You have to update your systems, update your processes, get systems, processes in order so that when those people come to you, they can filter through and feel really excited, really supported, really happy to be there. And then they become lifelong customers. But if they come to you, you're like, hey, I went viral and yay, I'm so excited. And all of these people come to your business, but you can't help any of them. You've lost way more customers than you'll ever gain. Right? So the systems is what holds the business up and keeps leveling you up to that next point. And I'm not saying you have to have every system all the time. For myself, I started off with Honeybook was my customer management system, so that all my customers could funnel into there and I could see everybody. I knew where everybody was. I have Calendly for booking. I have like my Google Calendar and that type of thing. I have Slack for my messages. I'm very lenient on systems in my business. It's not because I don't want to scale my business, but because I want to keep it simple. And that's what I do for my clients. I'm like, how simple can we make this? Because right now there's just stuff all over the place. How can we just streamline this a little bit easier?
There's a couple of questions in the chat there.
Okay. Do you have recommendations for improving website? My website is observed by Google search, but the potential customers don't contact. The content is required to be approved. So with that, it might be a messaging issue. So there's probably something on your website that people aren't feeling called to take that next action, right? So think of yourself as a customer. When you walk into a store, when you walk into a website, when you walk into a social media channel, when you meet somebody, there has to be a reason why you're going to move to the next step, right? And so if you don't feel called to move to the next step, when you go to a store, let's say you're walking into HomeSense, for example, there's things everywhere, there's stuff all over the place. Let's say you walk in and it's Easter, right? And you see this little bunny in front of you and you're like, oh, that's cute. If you don't feel called towards the bunny, you're going to ignore it, right? All the other bunnies in the store, you're like, ooh, I don't really feel called to that. But that one, for whatever reason, called your name and you're like, that one's cute. That's the one I want to take home. So on your website, when you think about it, is it talking to everybody? Is it talking to the masses? How can we hone in on your messaging? It's probably a messaging piece. How can we hone in on your messaging so that you're talking specifically to your target audience, talking to them in a way that feels aligned and exciting for them rather than focusing in on like pain points and hardships and moving them towards their potential. So great that it's on Google. I love that. I love that people are visiting the website. I think now it's just a conversion piece and having the buttons in the right spot. That's super important. And making sure that it's simplistic. Nobody wants a 15-page website anymore unless like it's absolutely needed. Simple. Who are you? Where are you showing up? How are you showing up? How can I pay you? How can I get in your spaces? That's what people really want to know. So something to think about. We can always chat more about it too. Send me a message on social and send me your link to your website so I can actually take a peek at it. But sometimes that's what comes up for people. I had Active Campaign and found it so confusing. I got rid of it. Active Campaign can be confusing. It is a bit of it's a huge software, like unbelievably huge in what you can do with it. But again, like you said, if you don't have the training behind it, if you don't have the knowledge behind it, not because you can't do it, but because it's like, oh, this feels clunky and heavy and annoying and I'm going to get rid of it, right? So it's about finding simplicity inside of these systems. And that's why I'm like, okay, what have you used? What have you tried? What do you actually need support in? If you're like, hey, I need email support, there are other programs, other softwares. We all know that. But finding something that actually makes sense for you and then having the SOPs, the trainings to go along with it so that if I were to ever duck out of your business, somebody could step in and or you could step in and take over just like as you normally would. So yeah, Active Campaign can be a little hefty. Perfect. Thank you, Lee. I'll take a look.
Okay, anybody else have any other questions? Maybe somebody will have a question after, but you put your contact information in the up there,
Absolutely.
right? Yeah.
Come find me if you have questions, thoughts. I know it can be a lot. So know that you've got people in your back pocket to help, and there's people all over the internet. So
Okay, well, I guess that's everything. Well, I say thank you very much for this. It's there is so much, things to think about, right? So it's good to, have a plan in place and things that maybe, I mean, I didn't even think about when you were talking about some of this stuff. So it's great. I learned some valuable information. So I say thank you very much. It's always a pleasure to have you, and we look forward to your next presentation. And thanks everybody for joining us today. And if you have any questions or if you would like the recording too to play back, just send me an email to the one that sends you the link. But anyways, I'll put it in the chat. It's makingadifference@pero.ca, and I could get you the recording.
okay, thank you guys so much for hanging out. I know it can be a little overwhelming, so feel free to send me a message and we can chat back and forth. But I appreciate your time today, and Lori, like always, thank you for having me.
Well, thank you very much. We appreciate it, and I appreciate you guys showing up too. So thank you. Anyways, have a great day, everybody.
Bye.
Bye.